of the hare and the whisper. This happened in a time before man held the secret of fire. It is a very old story. It is the story of how the great white hare helped the great river and saved fire and spread her flames across the world. We are all fire's children. In those days, as it is now, river was everywhere. Her channels fed streams that became rivers that met oceans, and river was everywhere. The clouds and the rain and the snow from the hills all fed river. The great white hare did not think herself that great or special in any way. Hare was a very modest hare indeed. She was a rather shy hare and hid in the cornfields where she could run yet not be seen. One day Hare was frolicking in her favourite cornfield, chasing her long shadow in the sun, when she heard a sound she had never heard before.
Please heed my call. Please heed my call. No other can hear me or help me at all. Please heed my call. Please heed my call. No other can hear me or help me at all.
It sounded like a whisper.
Please heed my call.
But it was not like any other whisper.
Please heed my call.
Not like the sounds of the cornfield in the breeze.
Can hear me.
It was a cold, urgent, sharp, shiny trickle that carried and danced in her incredibly long ears.
Please heed my call.
The sounds fell and tumbled upon the evening air.
Please
First
heed
near,
my call.
then far.
No other can hear me or help me at all. Please heed my
followed
call.
the sounds as best she could.
Please heed my
First
call.
near, then far, then gone again.
No other can hear me or help me at all.
Hare must have been following the mysterious whispers for some time. She strayed from her cornfield.
No other can hear me.
Ahead of her lay the dark woods.
Please heed my call.
The dark woods lay at the edge of the cornfield, and Hare had never ever been inside. This was the closest that Hare had ever been to the dark woods. She could almost touch the shadows cast out by the gnarled old branches. Hare shivered deeply, blinked her deep brown eyes, and raced off back to her nest.
Call.
Perhaps it was all in her head, and in her dreams, thought Hare, and leapt up high with her strong hind legs, and raced back through the corn. She made her way home soon after. That night, Hare dreamt she was a waterfall, falling from the great mountain. She felt the rushing of the wind, saw the green, green earth rushing towards her. Next morning, Hare woke and pricked up her ears. She strained her ever so long ears and listened oh so carefully.
Please heed my call. Please heed my call. No other can hear me or help me at all. Please heed my call. Please heed my call. No other can hear me or help me at all.
There it was, the whisper, first near, then far, then gone again. It was on the west wind and came from the dark, dark wood.
Please heed my call. No other, no other, no other, no other can hear me or help me at all.
At the edge of the cornfields were the dark woods, twisted, gnarled, wet and green. Branches curled and stretched up towards the sky. Hare had never been in the dark woods before, but heard many stories told about their secrets and their hidden dangers. Sun warmed Hare's back and cast its light as best it could through tangled branches. Hare stood motionless as her thoughts raced. She wound her ever so strong hind legs right back and sprang. Whoosh! She raced about the edge of the great dark wood, trying to find a way into the dense, deep, dark, velvety undergrowth. No path or lane, no alley, no ginnel or any other type of route could be seen through her keen brown eyes. Now a great stillness crept upon her, and her frozen feet were held to the spot as her incredibly long ears picked up the distant, urgent whisper that seemed so sad and pained and full of loss.
Please heed my call, please heed my call. No other can help me, no nearer, no far. Find the path, you can find the path. Come closer and nearer, and please heed my call, please.
Hare had paused in front of a fallen tree, a great old trunk upon its side, with roots in air gone green and moss on top. She took a deep breath and leapt on top to see within. Hare had entered the dark, dark woods. Hare had entered the dark, dark woods. Hare peered sideways through tangled leaves as her eyes became accustomed to the wood and the dark green darkness, full of sweet leaves and knotted, whirling, musty bark. Through spiraling branches and prickling undergrowth, Hare could see her shadow on the dock leaves. Hare took a deep, deep breath and dropped gently onto the spongy floor. Earth was everywhere, in ears and nose and eye. Paths and earthy ginnels were around, leaf-strewn and hedged with fern and nettles. Which way, which path? Hare could not decide. Before there was no way, but now inside, so many paths to follow. Hare heard the whispers in the distance. Cautiously, she followed the sounds.
Be ever nearer, walk ever closer, hear my song and be near me. No other can hear me or help me at all. Avert the disaster, avert the disaster.
Ears pressed back against her pelt, she crouched and ventured forth along the widest way, low, long along the ground and full of furtive fear. Each step was darker on the way, each choice of path led deeper as the green and leafy world rose up to meet the sky and the big black trunks were wide and whirling round. Between the roots she sloped and padded as her heart beat like a drum inside her ear. Hare stopped once more to listen. This was the hardest Hare had ever listened in her life. Her ears had never stood straighter. Her body was motionless.
Please heed my call. No other can hear me or help me at all. Be ever nearer, walk ever closer. Hear my song and be near me. Know my way and not fear me. Find my heart and attend to the tale and its end. Help me stop. Change the course of the flow. Avert this disaster. Just as light it burns brighter, so the purchase is tighter. In time will be waters that will flood on their courses. Night and her horses in a velvet would cover the light and the fire that burns in the night.
Hare followed the song for a very long time. Deeper and deeper into the woods she went as a strange new feeling bubbled up from her belly. She was utterly lost. Lost within the charcoal blackness, lost to the sun and to the fields and the moon and the hills.
It felt sickly sweet and full of shivers as the cord that anchored her to home was cut. She sat upon a giant root and watched the spider's webs that carpeted the floor, threads and filaments wavered in the breeze. In an undulated silver threading sea, hair fell into a deep and dreamless sleep. 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 Hair fell into a deep and dreamless sleep.
Hair fell into deep and dreamless sleep. Hair fell sleep
into a deep
and a dreamless sleep. Hair fell into deep and dreamless sleep. Hair fell into a deep and a dreamless sleep.
Into a deep, into a deep, into a deep.
And a deep, and a deep, and a deep, and a deep.
Hair awoke with a shiver. It was cold. Frost had fallen with the night and she saw silver everywhere. Strange that in the dead of night, the dark, dark wood should seem so bright. Silver webs upon the floor, the dark bark shone in shining ridges, like waves that break into the moonlit night. Crazy patterns painted silver trails. The moonlit night, the moon was in the sky. She shone her mirrored light directly down like shards of ice to light a contrast seam of silver to the deepest, darkest, blackest night. There was a silver shining brilliance that seemed to hum with whispers overlapping in whitest, highest tones that radiated from the path ahead, a pierced night cutting coldly through dark branches. A singing silver light among the leaves. First glimpses on the path, like lanterns in the night. Hair moved towards a wall of silver light, framed by curling branches, till she could see a magnificent moonlit glade. And at its center, the most beautiful waterfall Hair had ever seen, surrounded by birch trees. Moon shone down upon the white bark so brightly that Hair understood for the first time why the small and friendly-looking trees were called the silver birch. Hair had found the secret heart of the forest, and at its center, river sang. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the first part. A quick round of applause for our puppeteers. There is now beautiful music over in the tent. Make your way to the tent, and I shall call you again if you want to hear the second part of this mystery. Welcome back. It's the second part of The Hare and the Whisper. River flowed and crashed about her, a waterfall cascading from above. And in full flow, River spoke. She whispered, shouted, sang and roared unending. The source of all her whispers, the source of all the whispers, the source of every whisper Hare had heard.
Every winter snow is falling, and this spring my banks are bursting. I must flood and fill the valleys, rush and clean and wash ways. You must help me rescue Fire. Without her light, we will not see. Without her warmth, we cannot be. And I shall freeze forever. You must rescue Fire's children. Save them from harm and set them free. Or a moonless night forever. Winter, ice, and darkness be.
Hare listened transfixed as Water carefully explained that Fire and her children were in great danger. River could not save Fire. Each time she tried, she only hurt her. Hare must travel to save Fire and her children. If she did not, then the world would be lost to a great winter and a terrible darkness.
You must save them,
whispered River with a ripple. Hare chewed and thought, and then agreed and leapt upon a log and said to River, River, I give myself to you. You must visit Mother Dragon and ask for help.
You must visit Mother Dragon and ask for help.
It is the only way to get to Fire
before
I flood.
Fire before I flood. It is the only way you'll get to Fire before I flood.
Hare set off upon a long journey in her makeshift raft, and River carried her gently to see Great Dragon. Hare travelled with River for a moon and a half. Now, as sun rose, she could see Dragon's Mountain for the very first time. She approached Dragon's Mountain. Dragon lived on the very tallest mountain in the world. It was the only place she could touch the ground, the highest mountain Hare had ever seen. Hare sighed and almost muttered, I bet that dragon could be here in a second if she knew we were here. Hare jumped from her raft and started the long climb up the mountain. Hare's hind legs were strong as she climbed the mountain gingerly. Up she went. Springing, bounding, springing from rocky outcrop to cliff to rock. Hop, hop she went. Hare speeding, rocketing up, higher and higher. Higher and higher, still until she climbed so high, above the clouds, above the world, to where no Hare had ever been. There upon the top of the highest mountain in the world, Hare saw the cave, a dragon's cave, so deep and dark and black and strange. Dragon's cave was deep and dark and black and strange. Dragon's cave was deep and dark and black and strange. Dragon's cave was deep and dark and black and strange. Dragon's cave was deep and dark and black and strange. Dragon's cave was deep and dark and black and strange. Dragon's cave was deep and dark and black and strange. And Hare got to the top of the mountain and she looked inside.
to see the next part of this story, you'll have to come back after the amazing music in the tent over there. Give our performers a round of applause and our musicians here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final chapter of The Hare and the Whisper. Hare approached Mother Dragon's cave carefully and called for Dragon. She had heard Mother Dragon could be most grumpy and fearsome when rudely awoken. Wake up, wake up. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up, wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Shout it now! Wake up, wake up! Wake up, wake up! Wake up, wake up! No! Wake up, wake up! Wake up, wake up! Wake up, wake up! No! Who wakes me from my rest, my sleep? Who dares to climb my mountain? What reason have you, little one, to break my peace and call me? You're not too small for me to eat. Perhaps a barbecue I'll make. So pray and speak for your own sake. Why do you have reason for me to wake? Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Wake up. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Oh, wake up. Fire is trapped within a valley where river floods to wash her channels. If we do not attempt to save, fire's children will all be slaves to darkness, cold, and wintry days. Hare shook her bones and asked for Dragon's help. We shall be trapped. The water freeze, and your own fiery breath will fail. And sun will never rise again, and all them disappear inside. A lightless, a lightless, a lightless, a lightless, a lightless, never-ending night. And Dragon let out a mighty roar! Little hare, fire cannot ever go. For if she fails, we all will follow. For in your heart like mine she burns. And if she drowns, we all will falter. Eyes will close and never open.
Never.
Dreamless sleep will take all over.
Dreamless
I
sleep.
shall help you. I shall help you, but remember.
I shall help you, but
touch the
remember.
ground. I can never touch the 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 ground except here on my mountain sound. To the highest point I lay to rest, but never elsewhere test the earth. I'll take you where you wish to go, but you alone must rescue fire. There is no other way, it's clear. I give you your brave life. Fear! Jump on my back, brave hare. I shall carry you in the air, and on my back we'll ride to her.
dragon. And Dragon had agreed to help. Jump on my back, brave hare, repeated Dragon. But I warn you that I cannot touch the ground, except here in this cave on my mountain. Up Dragon flew. Hare held on fast, her ears fluttering madly as they shot a hole in a cloud and left the green earth far behind them. Dragon's arrow tail whipped and flickered behind. I should love to fly like you, Dragon. The first thing about flying, Dragon said with a sly smile, is learning how to fall. And with that, Dragon arched her back so quickly that Hare was thrown clean into the sky and all alone. Hare plummeted and flailed and fought and tumbled and turned and arched her body wildly. She tried to grasp the air, to hold on. Hare slowed, and she realized there was nothing in all the air to hold fast to. Soon she would hit the green earth. So she stretched out her body and her paws, and she found she could direct her path through the sky. Down, 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 down. Suddenly she noticed Dragon beside her, overtaking her, spiraling round her. I shall be your purchase in the air. I am your green earth. With that, Dragon pulled up beneath Hare sharply. Hare's strong hind legs felt Dragon's body, and Hare did what all hares do best. She recoiled her hind legs and jumped from Dragon's back way up into the sky. Whoosh! She flew forwards in an arc and landed on Dragon's back again. Wherever Hare fell, Dragon was there. Wherever Hare fell, Dragon was there. And this was how Hare learned to fly. And this was how Hare learned to fly. They travelled at amazing speed towards the valley, where river would gather and fill and flood and wash their ways. They flew through the sky, always jumping. They flew through the sky, always jumping. They flew through the sky, flew through the sky, flew through the sky to where river was. They flew through the sky to where river was. The wave was going to break. The wave was going to break. The river would come crashing down the waterways, crashing down the waterways. They flew, they raced river. They raced ahead of river, searching for the island. They raced ahead of river, looking for the island. And then, in the distance, they saw fire. They saw fire. Dragon and Hare saw fire burning in the distance. Below them the river rushed and gathered and bulged and began to burst and flood and flow across the land into the valley. They raced ahead, leaping and whirling in front of river's waves. Dragon called out above the wind, "I cannot closer go! The height we fly at is the lowest I can be. You're on your own now. Luck, I pray for you and all the world."
Hey! Hey!
It's not over yet.
Hare jumped from Dragon's back and fell. Hare
Hair jumped from dragon's back and fell. She jumped from dragon's back and fell. She jumped from dragon's back and fell. Hair jumped from dragon's back and fell. She jumped from dragon's back and fell. She jumped from dragon's back and fell. Far, 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 far down to the raging river. She jumped and fell, falling free down into the raging river with a hair-sized splosh. There she fell, down, deep down, so low down, deep down. She fell into velvet blackness. Everything was night and black and silent, and a heavy ringing velvet. The water was about her, plugging her ears and pressing against her body. Hair kicked her legs and swam upwards like a bullet. When Hair surfaced, she could see the flickering flames of the fire on the distant shore. She could hear fire roar and snap and crackle, and where river met land, steam rose and hissed. She swam towards the dancing glow. She swam towards the dancing glow. She swam towards the dancing glow. Head forwards, ears flat back, kicking her strong hind legs, past many other animals, some swimming, others floating on dead wood, and all fleeing the fire and the flood she was heading towards. A squirrel shouted, "You nuts, you nuts! Wherefore you go towards a great fire? Save yourself! Hare, you are too small! 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 Hare, you are too small!" The more river cried, the more her tears fed and flowed. Each tear made an ocean, and as each tear met each of fire's infant flames, both were gone into the dark, dark night. Hair clambered onto the receding shore and dashed amid the flames, determined to gather each and every one so tightly to her breast to shield them from any chance of harm. So tightly she held Fire's children, not one was left. Fire and River pleaded with Hair to go. Go now. But she wouldn't leave until the very last flame was held close to her heart. Her white fur was ashen, cold, and in places where Fire's children clung closely, her pelt was scorched through. Again River roared and said to Hair, "Go, go now." But Rose, who had seen the final infant flame, stranded on a small island, and her spirit would not let a single spark be lost. She leapt through the air like a firework, landing beside the final flame, grasping the infant flame tightly. At that very moment, River's banks broke. River flooded. River flooded. River flooded. River flooded. A terrible wave crashed towards them. A terrible wave crashed towards them. Hair wound back and recoiled every sinew of her strong hind legs, and with one great, last, mighty movement leapt towards the sky, and whoosh! Whoosh! She placed an infant flame. In everywhere and every valley she placed an infant flame. She set them down like campfires in the night. She set them down like campfires in the night. She set those flames down like campfires in the night. She fell and crashed between the branches. Towards Boar's Well she landed roughly. Animals who saw the sight all ran to find her in her plight, and when they got there found the broken body of the once white hare, now black and bloody. Not a single creature failed to weep, to see the creature breathing roughly. Final movements, gentle prayers, and with the last contented smile, hare, with her last contented smile, hare, with her last contented smile, hare, hare, with her last contented smile, hare, with her last contented smile, hare, with her last contented smile, hare, hare, breathed. She breathed her last. She breathed her last. She breathed her last. And so hare breathed her last. And was no more. And she was seen no more. And in the morning, when all had left, the flames sang, "We shall hold your shape and likeness, we are all your children too. For if you had not come to save us, we would be in darkness too. Great hare, we shan't forget you, we shall leap and burn for you." As they sang, the great white hare's body was taken up to the clouds by a company of sky otters, which are like otters, but they fly in the sky. And so each flame took on the shape of a hare and leapt up, flying out across the valley, lighting fires everywhere and elsewhere, and every wooded glade and field to show the way for others and light the world and keep us all from darkness. That looks like a hare, well, it just might be the great white hare.